Welcome into the Blurred Wire. I know it's been a minute since I've been able to do a podcast episode, just kind of been catching up on different things that have been coming out, and I am super behind. But I am going to drop my review of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, of course, that aired on Disney Plus. Childhood books that I grew up on. Today we're going to talk about season 2, and kind of what it did well and maybe what it didn't do so well. Some of those things like that. Make sure you leave a like and a comment and a follow if you dig this kind of content. Here on the Blurred Wire, we try to talk about movies, popular Pokemon, all kinds of popular culture kind of stuff. Obviously, I'm a huge Marvel guy, but Marvel, Star Wars, and right now, today, we're talking about Greek gods, actually, with Percy Jackson. So, of course, Percy Jackson and the Olympians takes place in New York. At least that's where Camp Half-Blood is, and it's a story about Percy Jackson, the son of Poseidon, and how he's navigating this world. So most people that watch these will probably have read the books. I know I read Percy, I was in middle school, I think, when I first read it. And this one was adapting the Sea of Monsters. Now, it was different. I'll definitely say there were some slight variations between the book and the movie. The book and the TV show. And the movie, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, was notorious for that in a very bad way. Obviously notorious means in a bad way, but the leaps that they took with the source material was essentially universally hated and despised. There was not a single person that felt like the changes they made were good changes that benefited the story. And so we all kind of understood that they wanted to get away from that, right? And that they wanted to avoid doing that with this series because they know how poorly that went the first time. However, I think it wasn't until I saw it on screen that, as much as I love Percy Jackson, I've been clamoring for a faithful adaptation. Watching the first season, I realized there's a lot in here. I guess as a kid, you don't really think about it, but Percy goes down to the underworld. He fights Medusa. He gets involved with Ares. He gets involved with Hades in the underworld, and then he has to fight Ares at the very end. And you've got this little scrawny Walter Scobell going up against Ares. And the actor, my favorite actor throughout both of these series, is the actor that plays Ares. I can't think of him. He hasn't been in a lot of stuff. But of every character on this show, to me, the person that has embodied their character the best is definitely the guy playing Hera. And I mean that more than Percy, more than Annabeth, more Ares. I come away feeling yes, this is Ares, right? So anyway, there's a lot that happened in the first book. And I realized putting that in a TV show, I can almost see why the movies kind of dumbed it down a little bit because there was so much in the first book. But I can see why Rick Riordan put all that in the first book because he's pulling in people to this world of mythology. So he has to hit all the big heavy hitters, Medusa and all those people that were in it. So it's kind of a two-edged sword here. So I remember watching it and being oh, wow, this is actually a lot. Even for someone who knows the books, knows what's coming and all that stuff, I'm still this is a lot that this kid is doing and going through right now. And so when I get to the second season, they kind of simplified it a little bit, but also kind of made it a little more complicated too. And that's the part, it's been so long since I read the book. It's hard to remember exactly what's new and different compared to what's not, But what I will say is that they did a good job of making sure that the characters' motivations made sense. And they really built up the animosity between Luke and Percy. Because in the first book, we actually didn't see a whole lot of time between Luke and Percy. And in the first book, I guess they were closer, right? But right now, the way the series is building, it kind of feels like Percy is the replacement for Luke. Percy doesn't have any personal attachment to Luke. He's ready to just take this guy out. And I think in the books, he was a little more, conflicted, I guess, because he kind of viewed Luke as a mentor. And I think we got more of that in the first couple of books. And I think in this one, after the direction of the first season, I think they realized, Percy doesn't really have a reason to look to Luke as a mentor in the season right now. And so I think they're going the more the conflict is between Luke and Annabeth. And we're just kind of building on they had a close relationship in the past. Since we introduced Percy to the story, he's kind of yeah, let's just take him out. And for people, it's not that simple. So I think that's kind of an interesting dynamic that's been changed a little bit because, like this Percy that we're currently seeing, I don't think I could see him having any issue with killing Luke, and we could kind of tell because major spoilers coming up. Major spoilers coming up. Like the fact that Luke ran Percy through at one point in this series to me was very I think it started to show that like now that the actors are starting to get older and we're kind of growing up with them, they're gonna take it to kind of darker themes essentially because Luke straight up killed Percy. He stabbed him through the gut, and he needed the golden fleece in order to heal. And it was convenient. Like we all knew like he wasn't actually gonna die because the golden fleece is right there, right? But it was kind of like a whoa moment. Like these demigods are fighting each other. And so I think when they went for the second season, I think they wanted to make it a little bit grander and a little bit bolder than the third season, than the second book actually was. Because I can't remember exactly where the climax of the second book was, but I'm pretty sure the climax is with the Cyclops, Polyphemus, if I'm not mistaken. And then after that, everything kind of died down. And this one, it was kind of a fake out because the Sea of Monsters originally, it like the series set you up to believe that the big climax was going to be with Polyphemus, and then we end up finding out that it's with Luke and them trying to invade camp, and we get kind of a pretty cool battle scene. It didn't last for as long as we might have liked, but kind of a pretty cool battle scene. And then I think the most interesting change has to be the way that they're doing Kronos' manipulation and the way they kind of reveal it at the end that he actually wanted Luke to fail and he actually wanted Thalia to be awoken because he believes she's the one that's going to accomplish his purpose of destroying Olympus because she hates the Olympians almost as much as he does. And so he's kind of counting on her, his granddaughter, basically. And she's the daughter of Zeus. And it was kind of interesting the way they redid the tree scene and had Zeus just turn him into a tree out of spite. And I think it's definitely going to help the narrative of like, hey, gods kind of suck, and that's the whole narrative throughout Rick Riordan. Like it didn't, again, those stories are what moves us. Like even in Black Panther, like comparing it to Killmonger, like the problem was evident. The issue was the solution. This is the same thing. Luke and everything he's saying, the problem is evident. The gods are meddling in human. They don't care, but they still continue to meddle, right? But the solution, have Olympus be destroyed and let Kronos take over. We're gonna find out more about why that doesn't really work as we go throughout the series. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting change. I don't think I came away offended by any of the changes that they made in the books. Partially because I haven't read the book in a long time, but also partially because the movie, it wasn't the movie. And like the changes from the movie, those were offensive. Those made me want to gag. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on Percy Jackson and the Olympians if you are a Percy Jackson fan. Let me know if you're looking forward to season 2. Hopefully I'll get some more stuff to reveal out. Daredevil Born Again is coming out pretty soon. I already dropped my review of Wonder Man that was earlier this year before I got some new gear. So this is my first time testing out the new setup. So, and let me know what you think about my setup. If you think I could improve it a little bit. I am looking to get some movie posters up here soon. So, we'll see. I'm going to play around with some of those ideas. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. And thank you for joining us on The Blurred Wire.